Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.
You are watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and today I am bringing you someone from France as I continue my World COVID-19 interview series. And I'm very, very happy to introduce Julien Delpech.
Yes, Delpech, yes.
Delpech. Thank you, Julien. I know that you're busy, and I'm very grateful that you're able to fit me into your schedule this evening. It's evening there for you, right?
Yes, it is 6 o'clock, yeah. Not the end of the day, though. At the time being, the days are very packed and very long.
I know, when you're locked in at home. Although sometimes it's night and I'm like, oh, really? The day is over? Because I've been busy doing this. So tell me, what do you do in France besides living?
Yeah, besides living, yeah, which is quite a big job. Well, actually, 4 years ago, I launched my own company. Was a startup company whose goal was to facilitate the medical training between physicians from all over the world. The idea was to facilitate the travel of a physician when he wants to visit another physician. For instance, if a French surgeon specialized in interventional cardiology would like to come to San Francisco and spend a few days to discover the technique, inside the operational theater of another surgeon, this is what the startup would do, would facilitate the medical training.
Okay.
And so this is what we've been doing for the past 4 years with a lot of success. We're training surgeons from all over the world. Some people also coming to France, other people going anywhere in the world. We work with different universities in Europe, in US, and in Asia. And our business model is really based on helping physicians, helping healthcare professionals, to find the right training and to go there. So as you understand, our business was based on the fact that people would travel to another location to learn a new technique. As you can imagine, a few weeks ago, all that in just a few days became absolutely impossible. Yeah.
Right.
All the travel was banned. People had to stay at home, and actually people had to fight the virus. But at the same time, people were still willing to learn from each other. So this is why we decided to launch like a new solution that we called webinars. And this is a solution that enables physicians or healthcare professionals, whether they can be a nurse, they can be a dentist, they can be anyone just with an experience of the COVID. So the webinars help them to share their expertise, their experience with other healthcare professionals, with their peers.
Okay.
So this is...
Sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I thought you were finished.
No. This is what we started, a month and a half ago, and today we train more than 1,000 healthcare professionals per day on plenty of different topics. How do you deal with a pregnant woman who is COVID plus and who is about to give birth? How do you protect her?
Wow.
How do you protect yourself as a surgeon, as an obstetrician? How do you deal with patients, that are COVID plus? How do you deal with them through your screen? So we have plenty of topics that we deal with through webinars.
Fascinating. I am so thrilled that you're doing this because this virus, it came out there and so unprecedented. It's not like we have systems built in place for something like this. Most people have been caught, unaware, and sort of lost. So I'm really happy to hear that you have this program and you're helping physicians. Are you a physician?
No, I'm not a physician. I'm a reporter. Uh, my education, I studied a little bit in France, a little bit in Russia, well, a lot in Russia, and then a little bit in the US at the American University in Washington, D.C. And I've been a reporter for some years, working in war zones in Russia, Afghanistan, etc. And then eventually, for a reason I still don't understand myself, yeah, I ended up working in the medical field.
Yeah.
Spent 15 years working in like clinical studies with stem cells and doing plenty of different things until I launched this new gig 4 years ago.
My goodness, while you were telling me you were a journalist, I'm trying to connect that to the medical field, which is why I asked you if you were a doctor. Well, I'm really happy you made the switch, and I am sure you are quite an asset during this crisis. Tell us about the coronavirus.
So I think, what we're seeing here in France. Yeah, I'll tell you the situation in France and maybe a little bit in Europe. Yeah,
Okay.
is something that no one was prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that during a very long time, and that was probably the biggest mistake, we sort of under-assessed the threat. Yeah, a lot of people told us, well, it's like a flu. It's kind of a big flu, but I mean, nothing to worry. Or this is happening in China. It won't come to Europe. It won't come to France. So during a very long time, yeah, instead of preparing ourselves or anticipating the threat, we didn't want to face the truth. And now that it is here, yeah, we're just in the middle of the fight. I'm very impressed by all the healthcare professionals that are dealing with it at the time being. Yeah, they're working 24-hour a day, 7 days a week, and even 8 days a week, I would say. The situation is under control. It seems that the situation in France and in Europe is now kind of under control, and we are flattening the curve, as they say. But still, yeah, it's 20,000 people who died in France. Most of them elderly people, and what I believe, yeah, is that there was a pre-COVIDian time. We are in the middle of the COVID, but what we're going to see next is the post-COVIDian era that is
Yes.
about to start. And I believe things will never be the same anymore because thanks to this crisis, this is the beginning of the digital era, yeah, where we
Yes.
understand that there is a lot of things that we used to do that we can actually do from our home.
Yes.
Maybe we don't need to take the plane as much as we used to. We
Right.
don't need to go to this meeting where we're going to spend 3 hours when you can do it from a remote place. So I
Right.
think this crisis is we're learning a lot of things. Yeah, we're learning the hard way, but we are discovering a lot of things for ourselves.
What do you credit the control of the curve to? What is it that you're doing in Europe that's controlling it to where you sort of sound like you're in control and it's sort of plateauing the virus?
Yeah, well, I think that the best example is what they did in Korea, in South Korea, where they were able to test all the population, to isolate the population that was COVID plus, and
Yeah.
to give masks to the rest of the population. And it's because they had the logistics, yeah? They had the tests, they had the masks, they had the discipline to do it. If you look at Europe, well, we're not very famous for our discipline in Europe, yeah? First of all, especially
I'll
in
take
France.
your word for it.
Second of all, we didn't have the test, we didn't have the mask, neither. So the only way, the last solution was containment. Yeah. So people, well, we have to stay at home. We cannot get out because that was the only solution left. So I'm not very happy about that, because my belief is that there was a better way to address the crisis, but just to face the fact there was no other possibility for us. So we're stuck at home. We are just making sure that the hospitals can work properly, that the country can work properly, but still most of us, and it's 10 million people in France, out of a population of 70, yeah, that is unemployed today.
Really? But
Yeah.
what are your numbers to date in terms of deaths and contaminated cases that you know of? What are those numbers looking like today? Do you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. In the countries, like the major countries of Europe, Italy, Spain, UK, and France, it's around 20,000 people that have died in each country. So it's a total of 100,000 in total. Yeah. So that's the highest death toll in the world. And now it's getting better. If you look at the past 10 days,
Yes.
yeah, we have reached kind of a plateau.
Yes.
But still, there are still a lot of new people that are getting contaminated, which is actually kind of normal. Yeah. But the good thing is that the people that are getting contaminated are not the people at risk. So not the elderly, not the obese population, because this population, they know that they have to stay at home, and we know that we have to take care that we don't get too close from them, or we don't visit them, unfortunately.
Well, maybe there's a lot. You said that the people in Europe are generally not compliant, so maybe this is their first lesson in the importance of following the rules sometimes. I know it's difficult to follow rules when the rules are stay in your house and don't come out. I don't think this is just Europe. Some people live in such small spaces that they begin to feel claustrophobic and they have to get out. And in some cases, there's so many people within those homes. In your research that you've been doing over the years, because you've clearly come a long way since you entered the medical field, because you're advising physicians in many different specialties in medicine. What is the one thing that you have learned that you think over the 4 years that is now really helpful in dealing with this crisis?
To me, the most important is sharing.
Is what?
People is sharing your knowledge.
Uh-huh.
And I think that the more you share what you know, the more you share your experience, your expertise, the better it is for the rest of the medical community.
Right.
And this is really what we're trying to help with. We're giving the tools to the physicians, and we let them know, well, guys, please share as much as you want. Our tools are for free. You can organize a webinar for 10 people or for thousands of people. This is possible with our tools. It's extremely simple. And actually, I believe that this is the best way people will benefit from the experience of the others. And for instance, at the time being, we see a lot of physicians from Africa. They register for our webinars because they want to anticipate what this wave of virus that is coming to Africa. And I think if we can share that with the African physicians, they will benefit from it. They will not do the same mistakes, or at least they will know how to treat a pregnant woman when she's about to give birth. What are the mistakes to avoid? And there is a lot. So to me, the most important, to answer your question, yeah, is the more you share, the better it is for the medical community.
Did you go to medical school?
Well, I go to medical school almost every day because this is my job, yeah. And but I didn't go to the medical school myself. My education is in as a journalist and in economics as well, but not in the medical field.
And the reason I asked that question, I specifically asked it because I know that sometimes we have some physicians with some humongous egos. And so if someone has anything at all to offer in that field, and they don't have a medical, a doctorate or something to show that they went to some prestigious medical institution where they've acquired their knowledge, they don't take you seriously. Have you encountered any of this?
Yes, we do. Yeah, no, we really do. Now, I think this crisis is putting everyone equal. Yeah. Some we have some examples where we have physicians. They are not famous physicians, but they have interesting cases. So what they're doing is they are sharing during a webinar the clinical cases. Yeah, very practical, and they explain, well, look, I had this woman coming with a 5-year-old, and then they describe what they did. They described what happened after 5 days, after 10 days, if they took the right decision or the wrong one. And I think what's extremely important is the humility of the people to recognize that they made the wrong choice. But they made the wrong choice because they didn't know what to do. Yeah, no one knows what to do facing this crisis. We don't know how this virus is going to behave. So some people are making mistakes, but when you share your mistakes, yeah, in this case, people will not repeat the same mistakes. And I think it's more important, to have these people that don't have the ego, that just say, well, this is what I did because I had to take a decision. It was the wrong one, and I'm sorry for that. But this is what happens. So I think this is what's interesting in this crisis. Yeah, that we have like people with 5 PhD that are presenting, and this is extremely interesting. But we also have people who are just dealing with patients on an everyday basis.
Well, I really admire physicians who are humble and who are not closed and who don't think they know everything. I've worked in the medical field for many years in a marketing role, and I've encountered many of them. And so I know the reason I'm asking you this is because I am well aware how some of them respond if you haven't gone to some university or institution where it says School of Medicine. When you offer anything, a lot of times they'll go, where did they go to school? And then they shut you down depending on the answer. What kind of help do you offer them?
So, first of all, I just like to mention the fact that we're helping physicians, but we're also working with the nurses, with the dentists, with all healthcare professionals, because everyone has something to share, and all the nurses we're working with, what they share with others has the exact same value of what physicians share. It's just sharing that is important. And as it is probably the case in the US as well, the nurses, they are on the front line. Physicians also, but they are together on the front line with the nurses. That's the first thing. And just to make sure, like your question was,
I guess what I'm not understanding is, and forgive me if I haven't got clarity on this. I just want to make sure someone watching this segment will understand exactly how you are helping, and that's where I'm a little bit.
How we help?
How are you helping healthcare professionals?
Yeah. So we are providing a tool, which is a software that we have developed, and this tool enables any physician, any healthcare professional in the world to share with their peers their knowledge. So it's a webinar that we have embedded to our platform. So you just fill a few fields. You tell us, okay, what is the topic you want to address, when it's going to happen, and then we're going to do everything from there. We're going to publish it live. We're going to promote it to the right audience to make sure that if we're talking about cardiology, we're going to promote that to the cardiologist. And then we're going to broadcast live the webinar. So the physicians, and they don't have to be bothered with technical issues. We get the topic, the time, and we do all the rest.
Wow, very impressive. And to date, you said you've helped many physicians around the world?
Yes. So today we organize between 10 and 20 webinars per day. And for each webinar, we have between 100 and 500 physicians or healthcare professionals. So in total, yeah, you just do the math. Yeah, it's several thousands of healthcare professionals that benefit from the expertise, the experience of others everywhere in the world.
This is wonderful, especially during this time of COVID-19. Do you feel that your numbers have increased in your attendees since COVID-19?
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely they do. Well, first of all, there are a lot of physicians, they have to stay at home, but they want to understand what is happening. They want to learn from the others. So they have more time for webinars. So this is one reason. But also, this is a time when people, they want to understand what's happening. So some people, they will just, take 30 minutes during their super busy day to listen to another physician that is talking from Italy, from China, from the US, to understand, okay, what's the situation there and what they are doing, and if they could get some inspiration, on maybe what you guys are doing in the US could be replicated here in France or in Italy. So this is the reason why we have so many people that are asking for the information and connect online for a webinar.
Is there some AI involved in this?
No, just human intelligence. Purely human intelligence.
Great answer. I stand corrected. Well, I really applaud you. It just sounds like what you're doing just was timely when you think of what is happening now, because you are right. We're all locked down at home and everyone is looking for ways to gainfully occupy their time. And so if you can do that, learning something that will benefit your patients and your life, why not? So I would imagine you are probably booked solid for the next couple of months.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes, indeed. As long as the crisis will be very active, I'm sure that our nights will be short and our days will be long. But fair enough. I mean, we work in the medical field, and we're happy to contribute, hopefully, to fight against the virus.
And are you the only one doing this, or do you have a team of people working with you, and do you offer it in many different languages?
We are a team of 30 people in total. And we are all doing that at the same time in my company now. Everyone has decided, to help physicians and to give up on other things, just to make sure that physicians have the right level of service to share their expertise. And you can do that in any language. We are a worldwide platform, so if you want to create a webinar that is in Russian, in Korean, or in Spanish, it's entirely possible. You just need to mention the language, and people will know that the webinar will be in Russian, for instance.
I know that you live in France. Are you French or are you Russian?
No, I'm French. I'm French. My wife's American though, so my kids are French and Americans.
I've got it, because your English is very good.
Oh, thank you very much.
Because when I was trying to find someone in France to interview, the problem was most people were concerned about their English. They didn't feel comfortably enough doing an interview with me because they were concerned that their English wasn't good enough. So I'm very happy that I was able to connect with you. So tell me what is like now for Julien during COVID-19, apart from all your webinars.
Um, so I think we are living what I call a parenthesis. Yeah. First of all, for the first time in my life, um, it's about 45 days now that I'm living with my family in a small house nearby Bordeaux, and I'm not traveling anywhere. I see my kids in the morning. I see them for lunch. I see them for dinner. Same thing with my wife. And this is, the first time in our life, yeah, that we spent 45 days in a row when we're all the time together. So it is an experience by itself. Yeah, it's uh, I'm still amazed that we haven't divorced yet, and the kids haven't left the house. No, it's it, it's a real experience. It's also, I've always been on the move and visiting clients in France and abroad. So for the first time in my life, I'm just staying at the same place during 45 days in a row, and for the next 3 weeks as well, because everything we have to stay until the 11th of May in France in our houses where we can't get out, just to buy some food some days. But so it's the experience that is really interesting.
How many children do you have?
I have three. They are like 14, 16, and 18.
Oh, so they're not tiny kids. So they're pretty independent. They're at an independent age.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't
But
have to teach any children at home.
no, we don't have. We're trying to, or maybe they teach us some stuff as well. No, I think what's kind of saving us is that we have a ping pong table here, so that's the way, like we kind of uh, deal with stress playing ping pong.
Get those endorphins going.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem for most people who are active, that they can't get out there. Although in the US, people are still going for walks. Do you see people in your neighborhood walking?
No, we still have the right, to go for a walk. It has to be really in your neighborhood, and it has to be for the maximum of 30 minutes, and it's only
Really?
one, and it's only once a day.
And
So
who's checking?
well, the police checking every time you get out. You need to go on a special app, and then you need to fill the app. And once you filled it once in the day, then you cannot get out anymore. And if the police stops you, and if for instance, if you haven't filled the app, you get like a fee of 230 euros. So that's around 300 euros, $300. Yeah, um, if um, if you are not doing that legally.
Oh my goodness, they're very serious there.
Well,
Well,
you have, when the people are not disciplined, you have to put some rules that are really tough.
exactly. And is it mandatory that you wear a mask and gloves every time you go out?
Um, Not yet,
Oh,
because there are not enough masks and gloves for the entire population. So it's not mandatory yet. But after the 11th of May, they say it's going to become mandatory, which makes sense.
well, I've been asking everyone, sorry, I've interviewed this question, and you are not going to escape it. What
Please
has
tell me.
Julien learned about himself during this crisis?
Um, I've learned that you can stay at home and do much more from your home that from moving around and spending your time on the road visiting clients. So I think that's the biggest thing I've really learned is it's possible to be extremely efficient with a computer, with a few tools from your home.
It's interesting. I was speaking to a girlfriend last night, and she was saying that she is busier from home than when she goes to the office. And we were trying to figure out why that was so. And I think it's because when you are in the office, you have so many distractions. You have coworkers that speak to you, and when you're home, you're just in a zone, because that's what I'm doing. I'm just working. And the time is flying by, and I'm not even aware of how quickly it's going by because I'm so involved in what I'm doing, and I'm getting a lot more done. Do you think that is true for you?
Yeah, same. Yeah, no, I totally agree. You have very few distractions. Yeah, and no, so it's a parenthesis, but I think that what I'm learning now, yeah, will definitely have an impact in the future.
What would you like to say to the viewers watching this segment? Because we're almost out of time, and I want to make sure that you get to leave everything that you can that will help someone. So please tell me what that would be.
I'd like probably to tell them that it's important to share with others whatever you learn from this crisis, whether you are a healthcare professional or not. It's essential to share your emotions, to share your learnings, to share what you have discovered about yourself, about your family, about your friends. And this is what we do, yeah, in our company. Yeah, we help people, we help physicians to share their expertise with other physicians. But I think it's also true for not only for physicians, but for everyone.
That we share. I agree. What would you change when this is over? What would you change about the way you behave and live?
I will probably consider every time I need to go for a meeting, I need to take a plane, I need to visit a customer, I will think, okay, is it worth spending all that time, all that money, and all that waste for the planet as well? Yeah, or can I do it from home? I think that's probably the questions I'm going to ask to myself each time. And also, it's just probably the same about vacations. Yeah, do you really need to take a flight every time you go on vacation, or can you just stay in your own country and just discover things that are very close and that you even don't know? So it's probably the kind of questions that I will ask myself.
It's funny how everyone is just learning so many different things. It's amazing. It's almost like we were forced into this so we could self-discover, for introspection. I know for me, the hardest thing is going to be not hugging people. I'm a hugger, and it's instinctive. And I'm being told we may never be able to hug people again. And I hope I don't offend anybody because it's instinctive. I have to retrain myself not to hug. Well, I am so grateful to you for what you're doing and the difference you're making in the world with this platform and the way you're helping doctors to communicate in all the ways that your platform is providing a better situation and a better world. And I wish you luck and continued success. Stay in touch. Maybe down the road when you have some new innovation, we can regroup and do another segment if you're up for it. I just love sharing inspiring stories because I feel there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, especially now. So when I have a great story like yours, I'm excited and privileged that I got the chance to share it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate a lot the opportunity, to share with everyone what we're doing, and hopefully to contribute a little to the fight against the virus. So thank you very much for your contribution as well.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for watching Conversations with Jennylyn. When a conversation is all you need to be inspired, like this conversation. And I will see you next time. We'll be in touch.